What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be comparing my 2024 CRF450r to my 2001 CR500. Here's the lineup we have in the barn. We've got my 2005 KX250, the Holy Grail, the 2001 Honda CR500, 2024 CRF450r, we got 2008 GSX-R 600, the People's Dream bike back there, the 2001 or 2 YZ125. Now, the star of today's show is the CR500 and the CRF450r. The 500 is what used to be the king of bikes back in the day and has since been replaced with the Honda CRF450r. Now we're talking a 500cc two-stroke compared to a 450cc four-stroke. Two totally different animals, but don't get me wrong, both of these machines are mean as could be. Now I realize most people wouldn't be able to do a comparison video like this because having both of these bikes is not that common. The 2001 CR500 is a very hard bike to find, and when you do find them, you're going to be paying a pretty penny for them. So I am lucky enough to be standing here in front of you all with both of these bikes behind me, and I'm super excited to do a comparison video between these two bikes. I love them both for very different reasons, and in today's video I'm going to get into why I like each bike and maybe why I don't like each bike. Both of these bikes are completely stock, so it's going to be a very even comparison. It's going to be really interesting to compare and contrast the differences between the two bikes. This thing's got just an unreal power band. This also has loads of torque, but is electronically fuel injected, so it delivers it in a very different way than that 500 two-stroke does. This video is not going to be a drag race between the two bikes because it's just me today filming the video, so unfortunately I can't ride both bikes side by side. But if you guys want to see a drag race comparison between these two bikes, let me know in the comments down below and I'll get a buddy to come out and we'll line the bikes up side by side and see which one is actually the king. Let's go ahead and go over the differences between some of the features of each bike. So like I said, this is a 2001 CR500. It's completely stock, beautiful example of unobtainium. Starting off with a major difference between the two bikes is this bike is kickstart only. It is very challenging to start, got a ton of compression. You just kind of have to work at it to get her going. Whereas the 450, well, it's 2024, baby, and we have electric start. So all you have to do is press that button and this thing fires up to life. Makes trail riding or really every aspect of riding way easier because whenever you stall out or the bike dies for whatever reason, you just hit that button and you're off to the races. Whereas the 500 goes out on you and you're gonna be sitting there kicking for a while. Another big difference up here is in the cockpit. We've got different map selections here. We've got different traction control settings along with launch control. All managed by this module right here next to your clutch, which is hydraulic compared to the traditional cable clutch that's on the CR500, and all we have is an old-fashioned kill switch over here. We don't have any maps, any traction controls, absolutely no launch control. This thing is old school, and it's all up to you as the rider to make those things happen. You're going to be putting premix in the CR500, mixing oil and gas versus straight gasoline goes into the four-stroke here. This is more convenient, but there's something special about the smell of two-stroke exhaust, and you definitely feel more manly mixing oil and gas. But on that note, as we're heading more in the direction of EVs and you're seeing these electric dirt bikes come out, which I think is an absolute crime, by the way. It's not unmanly at all to have a four-stroke. It used to be, okay, well, two-strokes versus four-stroke. I'm a two-stroke guy, I'm a four-stroke guy. Now we're dirt bike guys, powered by gasoline, against EV guys, because you shouldn't be able to go around a motocross track and it be silent. I mean, you gotta be on top of that engine, feel the vibration between your legs, makes you feel alive. All right, now that we've got the basic comparisons out of the way, let's load the bikes up in the truck, fuel up, and head out to the farm. Gotta fill up the 450 with 93. Oh, she's thirsty. Perfect. No spill, all the way up to the top. 500 on the other hand takes premix, so we're gonna have to go pick up some oil. Mix it with the rest of this jug. Just like that, we're loaded, baby. And not every day you pull into a gas station with a CR500. Look at that header. All right. right, we just pulled up. Looks like the farmers tilled the fields, so we're just gonna unload the 450 for now, take it down to the lower fields and see what condition they're in. Should be fine, but we're just gonna start off on the 450, do a quick little check out of the property, and then I'll be back to unload the 500 hopefully. It is a beautiful day here. The sun's out, it's 80 degrees. We got a little breeze, but it feels great. Got a 450 and a 500 in our presence. What could make this any better? Fire's right up, ice cold. All right, so I just got back checking things out on the 450. Good news and bad news. Good news is we're gonna get the 500 out. We're gonna take it for a rip. Bad news is the farmer did an initial tillage down there. It's really hard to ride on. It's super soft and like big chunks. It's not like really nice groomed MX track type of tillage. It's like big, huge clumps of dirt. And so like you can't really go fast in the fields because you're just fighting it the whole time. So we'll ride the field edges. We will get into the fields. There is a few areas where it's a little smoother than other areas, so we're definitely gonna hit that up. First, we've got to mix up some 2-cycle. Best stuff in the game right here. Don't use anything else. Get the rest of that oil out. Who needs a funnel? Give it a good shake. Got some fresh gas for the 500. Don't worry, we're not putting diesel in this thing. At least not yet anyways. Alright, here's a cold start on a Virgin 2001 CR500. Been sitting for a few months. This thing has very, very little runtime on this original motor, as you can tell by the sheer condition of it. So with that comes an insane amount of compression. And I only weigh about 140 pounds, 5'6", 5'7". Hopefully we can get fired up because it's a beautiful day. Farmer's getting ready to plant all the fields, so I'd love to do some tilling on this thing before the farmer puts seed in the ground. Tell you how hard I'm squeezing these handlebars. So the 5 things we're going to be storing each bike on is sound, power, suspension ergonomics, looks, and overall fun factor. There's 1 and 2. First spin, second grab, front wheel comes up. Gosh, this thing is just so mean. So raw and so fast. Not afraid to tell you who's boss, that's for sure. The 500 definitely has the excitement factor over the 450. There's no doubt about that. Man, the suspension beats the hell out of you though. Hop off the 500, folks. We ran her pretty good today. Not bad. Did the header survive? Looks like it did. No rock chips. That's great. It's the only risk in running a bike like this. Something this valuable. Makes you scared to ride it, but that's no way to live life. All right, guys, we're gonna switch from the CR500 over to the 450. See what it's all about. I mean, that is so convenient. I will say it's, you know, less manly to press a button than kickstart a beast like that, but it sure is nice when all you have to do is hit a button and it starts up. There's a reason that's not electric start, because not everybody should be able to ride that bike. This, on the other hand, a 6-year-old could hop on here and hit that button. Let's go ahead and have fun anyways. up. We're just gonna head down to the lower field section here. For all my deer hunters watching, this is one of my food plots. I got a stand location right here into a little micro plot that goes into a huge crop field. If you guys are deer hunters or hunters in general, give my other channel a follow, KC Outdoors. Oh man, that's effortless. The power on this thing is so smooth and so controllable. It's just so easy. It's easy to go fast. The CR500, you gotta be a really good rider to be able to go fast on that bike. This bike, you can just hop on and go fast, which is kind of dangerous. Power wheelies on command. We've got several different map options and traction controls. Right now, we're in map 2. Let's go to map 3. I think that's the most aggressive. Let's see if it makes a difference. Another thing, this bike gets really hot really quick. You have to move a lot of air through this bike to keep it happy. This thing will boil your leg right off if you don't get enough air movement through her. It's a 450, man. It's got the power to do whatever you want it to. Well, now that you guys have been on board both, let me know in the comments down below what you think you would prefer. Old school 2-stroke or fuel injected 450? I mean, honestly, it's a win-win. They're both great bikes. The fuel injection makes such a big difference too. I mean, the second you give it throttle, it just, no dilly-dally, just instant reaction. No messing around with the carburetor, no nothing. Alright guys, we made it back to the house. That was a ton of fun getting some seat time on both of the bikes. They're both super fun and extremely different. Obviously the CR500 is a classic, one of the greatest dirt bikes of all time. One might even call it the king of ping. Also got the CRF450r, which is no slouch by any means. Before we wrap up the video, I want to go over the different categories and kind of rank these two bikes and finally determine who comes out on top. I've got a little chart drawn out here. We've got the CR500 and the CRF450r. We've got 5 different categories and a total column right here. Each bike had an opportunity for 10 points in each category. Those categories being sound, power, looks, suspension / ergos, and then fun factor. All for a total possibility of 50 points. I scored the CR500 9.5 out of 10 and the 450r 8 out of 10, simply because 2-strokes sound way better than 4 strokes. I mean, that's about all there is to it. They sound better. 450 sounds good. It's really deep. It's really throaty. It sounds mean, but the 500 sounds terrifying. It sounds like you're on board a rocket ship or something crazy. If I were to compare it, a 450 would be like a Ford Mustang Coyote versus a CR500 being like an exotic Ferrari, high revving, screaming V8. The CR500 just sounds crisp. Sounds angry. The 450's kind of mellow. Both are extremely loud. They're different types of loud, if that makes sense. All right, moving on to the next category, power. I scored the CR500 9.5 out of 10 and the 450 9 out of 10. The power on the CR500 is absolutely explosive. It's not predictable. It makes you work for it. It's really exciting and rewarding when you do get it right, but it's also incredibly nerve-wracking because you don't know when that rear tire is going to get traction. Whereas the 450 puts all the power onto the ground all the time. It's really smooth. It's very predictable. That kind of makes it a little boring, if I'm being honest. CR500, don't know what's going to happen. You got to stay on your toes, and that's part of what makes it so exciting to ride. All you got is a little kill switch here. No electronics, bare bones, simple and old school. Moving on to the next category, looks. I mean, come on, is this even fair? No, it's not. The 450 is one of the best looking newer bikes on the market, in my opinion. It's super sharp and angular. The CR500 is very classic. Got the white and the red. I'm not a fan of the steel frame just because it's super heavy, but I really like the way the white tank and red plastics all kind of incorporate together. But looks wise, definitely more modern, definitely better looking on the 450. The 500 is just much more classic looking in my opinion. With the looks category, I scored the CR500 8.5 out of 10 and the 450 9 out of 10. All right, next category, suspension slash ergos. I rated the CR500 7 out of 10 and the 450R 9.5 out of 10. In my opinion, I think the 450 is just about perfect. It feels so comfortable, so nimble, so agile. Everything is just tuned perfectly between the motor and the chassis. It all works together as one awesome unit. Whereas the CR500 has an absolute badass motor, but the suspension and the ergonomics kind of suck. The bike's super heavy, super clunky, does not handle near as well as the newer technology. I will say though, the CR500 has a much more comfortable seat than the 450. Moving on to the next category, fun factor, all right? This is kind of the deal breaker category here. I rated the CR500 10 out of 10 and the 450 8 out of 10. Guys, for me, the CR500 knocks it out of the park as far as the fun factor goes. It's terrifying, it's unpredictable, it makes you work for the power, and when you get it right, it is so rewarding. I can't even put the feeling into words. However, the 450 is kind of boring, super predictable, it's so easy to ride fast, whereas the 500 is really hard to ride fast. Like, you have to work really hard for it. The 450, pretty much anybody can hop on that and go fast. I really wish every dirt bike enthusiast out there could have an experience of owning and riding a CR500 like the one you see before us here. It's just an experience that I can't even convey into words, and it is translated by the crazy resale values for these original CR500s. Well guys, that's gonna go ahead and wrap today's video up there. I really hope you enjoyed the video. These are two of my most favorite bikes of all time. Let me know in the comments down below which one is your guys' favorites. I have a sneaky suspicion that the CR500 is gonna take the cake for most of you, but maybe you're a 4-stroke guy. Maybe you've never experienced a 2-stroke. If you're new to the channel, I wanna say thank you for stopping by and watching. Do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. As always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.